habit loop, micro habits. So let's go ahead and kick it off. Someone start off for us and tell us what you took away from this element. Like, what's one of your main takeaways?
Do we just talk?
Yes, you can unmute and you can, it's open forum.
I don't know. I can't tell, to be honest, if I'm muted or not muted is what I'm asking. How do I know that?
Are you on a computer or a phone?
Computer. Well, it must be unmuted because you can hear me. So this is my takeaway. And I just wrote down, take ownership of your choices and develop your own skills and abilities to own your outcome. If you don't like the outcome, change you. Change your abilities, learn new skills that are lifelong. It's all about me and what is in this book. Nobody else. I can't blame anybody. I can't change anybody, but I sure can change me and learn. And I'm excited about that.
Yes, for sure. And I like how it builds on what you were saying about building those new behaviors. It's all about us and our behaviors and what we're doing from day to day, the little things that we're doing to build those new habits that we have that are going to last us long after we're done, in the weight loss phase of the program, and we're carrying on with, optimization, which is what I call living our best life. Did anybody do any of the structural tension stuff in the structural tension section under the macro habits? Well, I'll start us and then maybe someone else will jump in.
I did.
Okay, perfect. Share with us, Michelle.
I have been on the program for a few months now, but I have not been good about digging into the books at all. I've been just overbooked recently. I was on my kiddos' football league and I just got away from that. So I got into the book today and did like 8 pages. And the structural tension is one of the few things that I did do. I put down for my current reality that I'm overweight and unhealthy. And my desired result is to be healthy. And I used his same dynamic because that is my goal is healthy weight management. And so I put my desired weight, which I'm not afraid to share. I would like to be around 150 and currently I'm at 210. I lost 40 pounds in the program already, or over 40 pounds. But I gained a little bit of it back and I'm getting back on track here. My secondary choices, again, is just more lean and green meals. We have a bit of a large family in our home right now, and I'm the only one on program. And so it's a little hard for me to prepare 2 separate meals, one for myself and then one for everybody else in the family. And so I'm trying to get in the habit of either making the same meal for everybody, meaning like a lean and green meal, or just worrying about making my own dinner and then having someone else in the household, because we have 3 adults in the household, prepare one of the other meals for everybody else so that I don't feel like I need to prepare so much. And then also I'm really bad about trying to drink enough water. So I have that down as well. Drink 3 water bottles a day. Which is my that's more than the 64 ounces, but that's what I have down for my secondary choices.
Awesome. Well, and those are totally things that, you can implement each day, especially while you're on the program with the structure of the program to get you to, that ultimate goal of where you want to be. And definitely check out Sandy's Kitchen Adventures if you haven't already for those family-friendly recipes. The kids will enjoy them for sure. So anybody else want to share anything that they put down in the structural tension section, their current reality, the secondary choice, and the desired result before we move
share.
On? Awesome. Go ahead.
Sorry. I'm Jamie. I've done this element a couple of times through the different phases of my life and journey over the past couple of years. And this time, I'm not in the weight loss phase anymore. And so I focused on something a little different based on the prior elements. I realized what I was really struggling with was stress and sleep. And I have a toddler, so trying to, there's that, but then trying to figure out what are the small steps throughout my day that can help me get to a restful sleep. And on page 77, the sentence that I highlighted was mastering the ability to create a series of small, sustainable changes in your daily choices that over time create change. And I think that just hit me. I mean, I knew that, but I think it hit me a little differently in thinking about my secondary choices. So my current reality was less than 8 hours sleep, often not rested, not feeling full of energy. My secondary choices were to refine my bedtime or define my bedtime routine and my morning routine, which was a whole nother element, right? And my desired result was 8 hours restful sleep and better focus daily. And it's still a work in progress, but what it opened the door for me is just like to believe that it is possible and to identify those points of my routines throughout bedtime and morning that do make a big impact. So I really appreciated that structural attention for my own mental health and getting better sleep.
For sure. And it always helps me to put it down on paper, to get those things written out so we can see that end result or the desired outcome, as he puts it in the book. So definitely, if you didn't fill it out, I encourage you to go back in and fill out that structural tension so you can identify some things that you want to work on. So anybody else want to share theirs before we move on?
I will. My name is Crystal. I will be, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't read it this time. I'm behind and I'm trying to catch up in all the books. So I didn't read this right before this, but I have worked this before. And as I was looking at it, there's been a few changes, which is pretty cool. So when I did this back last year sometime, my current reality was that I was obese at 210 and I really hated my back fat and my cellulite. My secondary choices were portion control. I was having a really hard time with portion control, staying away from sugar, which is still an issue for me, focusing on my lean and greens and just trying to make them super. I think somebody else said they also cook for other people. My husband has a totally different way that he eats, so he doesn't like what I eat. So he's now making his own meals. And then to exercise every day for 20 minutes. I work from home now. And so the exercise that I used to get, I no longer get. And I thought that being here at home would really help me to, get those quick 20-minute workouts during lunch. But I found that has not happened. And then my desired result is to be, my ideal weight is to be between 170 and 180. With the changes in my body, less back fat and cellulite. But really, I keep saying I want to wear a tank top and some shorts comfortably. Like I try to go on these vacations and I don't feel comfortable wearing a tank top and shorts, and I want to get there. Reality right now today is that I'm down to 194 from 210. My portion control is pretty much on point. Even if I don't want it to be, I get full really quick. And so I stop where I'm at. Still working on the sugar, but focusing on the lean and green that's pretty much in the bag as well. So things have changed slowly but surely. And I'm really excited for this book club and looking forward to learning more and hearing all these different stories from all you people, men and women. Thank you.
Well, we're happy to have you, and we're so glad you joined us, even though you didn't get to the element. We tell everybody, like, even if you don't read, like, definitely still come and join us, because we can always take something away from everyone, even if we haven't read yet. So the next section that he goes into in step 2 is all about the habit loop. Who wants to start us off with what they took away from that section on the habit loop? I know this is one of my favorite parts of this book is looking at this. We'll let someone else go before I dive in. Does anyone else want to jump in?
I'm just going to read what Elaine put in here in the chat. My current reality is being overweight with a high BMI. I hate my apron on my belly. My secondary is stick to this program, drink more water, get up early, and eat every 3 hours. My desired result is to have a BMI under 40 so that I can have my hip surgery that I need to be out of pain. Thank you so much for sharing that, Elaine. That's huge.
Awesome. Great goals there. Totally reachable for sure. So I like the part that he talked about, and we've shared this several times in Optimal Health Journey, and I've seen it in different posts from different people, but he talks about it taking an average of 66 days to install a new habit. And when I first read that, when I started the program, it really blew my mind. I was like, 66 days, that's over like 2 months of doing something over and over again to make that new habit. And then, of course, he goes on to say 18 days for easier habits or several months for complex new behaviors. And I've recently seen that in some things I've been working on. I've been doing the 75 hard challenge with some of my clients and other coaches. And I really can see how it really does take that long to form that habit. Because even after doing exercising and doing all the things for 60 something days now, I can still see where I could easily like fall out of that habit super quick if I don't stay on top of, what I'm doing. So the habit loop for me is definitely useful. Anyone else want to chime in on that?
I actually wrote something in my book from a while ago. Excuse me, my daughter is being obnoxious.
Okay.
So something that I learned in our coaching training is E plus R equals O, an event plus reaction equals outcome. So I'd put in here the event, wanting to change or wanting to create a new habit, plus the reaction of setting the alarms, doing those little things will equal the outcome. And so that kind of helped me remember that loop and to constantly kind of have that loop in my head followed by that equation of, it's going to consistently go in circles and eventually create it permanently. That's all.
Yes. And I like adding on to that, what Rebecca said. He really emphasized in this element to keep it small, like something that you are easy, something that you can do each and every day that you can repeat over and over, even when life is busy and things get hard. You can still do those things and then basically capitalizing on that habit and, adding to it if you can, but doing the small thing each and every day, even when, life is chaotic.
I use that habit loop for my fuelings. I set my alarm for every 2 hours and 45 minutes so that there's no excuses. And my body is really starting to, right around that time, I start getting really hungry and I'm like, I think it's time. And shortly after, like within 10 minutes, it's time to have a fueling. So that's really helped me a lot.
For sure. And that the timers are really, really helpful. And that's something easy that you can do every day. And it'll also help you each day when things get chaotic. That timer will remind you. So he says here, a micro habit is easy to do and always within your ability in terms of ease or effort. So, think really small to go big, basically. Anyone else have anything they want to add in on that?
I love the alarms, and like it's so easy for us now to like set up these cues. We got Alexa and we've got our smartwatches and our phones. We can set reminders. And, the smart watches like telling you to get up and walk. Like they're using the same stuff that Dr. A is teaching us about. So I just love that and encourage everyone to. You can also stack habits. Like I have a habit of brushing my teeth every night, so that's what I do with my Lifebook. It's like every night I'm going to brush my teeth, so that's my cue that I want to sit down and read a few minutes in my Lifebook. And what Erica just touched on, I love, which is that we don't have to shoot for the moon. Like, it's just about establishing that habit. So the smallest, when Dr. A talks about that, the ease of it, it just means something we can do every day, whether we've had a good day, a bad day, busy, or whatever. You know, I can open my life book, I can read a paragraph, I can call that success. And that allows me to kind of check the box every day that I read the life book. And after 66 days or whatever, you know, now I've developed a habit.
Yes. I wrote in here something as simple as the cue would be starting the coffee, because I do that every morning, whether life is chaotic or not. The coffee gets started as soon as my feet hit the floor. And so the routine would, you know, over to the routine, I'm going to eat that first fueling, you know, right after I start the coffee. So that's within my hour of waking up. And then the reward is I get a jump start in my metabolism and I get my day going. So, you know, start little. You don't have to, you know, like Eric said, you don't have to reach for the moon, you know, do small things. And then once that becomes a habit, then like he said, stack on top of them and add something else.
I have a question. I don't see my mute or unmuted. I was doing this for doing exercises because I have a bad knee, but I had a hard time putting it into the cue, like what I would build the cue on.
Like what the cue would be?
Yes.
So when do you typically do your exercises?
I was trying to do them in the evening because the morning's a little bit too chaotic when I'm getting out the door in the morning.
Is there something that you do in the evening already, like every evening?
Well, yeah, eating my fuelings, I do that every evening, but I tried to connect it with that, and I really had a hard time with connecting those two activities together.
Do you normally eat your lean and green in the evening, or do you eat it during the day?
I eat it in the evening.
So maybe after you eat your lean and green, maybe try connecting it to that, because you know that's something you'll do probably every evening, you know, once, you know, the dust settles from dinner, and then maybe that would be your cue to do your exercise. Have you tried that?
No, I tried to put it with my last fueling, because I get that ready, do the exercises. I mean, they don't take very long. It's just the remembering to do them.
Oh, that's where the that's where the alarm comes in, right? So we could do the alarm. Sorry, that's our child. Hi, I'm Lance. I'm Jamie's husband. We were talking about that alarm. Would that be where we would put the alarm cue in there if you were forgetting to do something like that?
Okay, I'll try that.
And I love to make an alarm with a song, like music. And that can get really interesting, because if you start doing this to a certain song all the time, then you'll have a really big urge to do your exercise when it comes on the radio also.
All right. Thank you.
I was going to ask too, Lisa, if there's a routine that you do outside of the food, because it sounds like you had a little bit of an issue connecting it with the fueling or food per se. So maybe it's in the evenings you watch a favorite show, or, you know, like you have something that you relax beforehand. So maybe you can't do that relaxing moment until you do your knee. So the habit stacking there. So you're not able to watch that show until you do it's kind of like a rule thing to a pairing. So give that a shot as well.
Okay. Thank you.
So on page 86, he asks 3 questions. It says, there are 3 questions you need to ask as you prepare to install a new habit. Is it appealing? Do I want to do it? Is it achievable? Or can I actually do it? And is it easily activated? Or is there a prompt that reminds me to do it? So that goes back to our routine of getting it done. And I like those questions, especially when we're building, you know, starting small and going big. Those 3 questions are 3. Well, there's more than 3 questions because there's actually 6, but those things will help us to start small. And, if you can answer the questions to start that habit, I think that'll help you in building up on those habits along and along. I know it's helped me, like starting the coffee, like that's something I'm going to do every day. So I know I can build on that and build my new habits, and maybe replace my eating after I'm eating for 66 days within an hour of waking up. I can replace it with something else, and build on top of it and still continue that one habit, but then add something else to it.
There's something that is said in one of the books, and I don't remember if it's in Lifebook or if it's in Habits of Health book, and we might actually revisit this again. But Dr. Anderson tells a story about working with an elderly woman who wanted to do a bunch of push-ups. And obviously she wasn't able to at that point. So he just had her do a couple off the wall and then gradually built up. I think a lot of times we decide that we want to recreate habits. And speaking for me, like before starting program, and I think there's a few of you that can relate to this. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to create this habit of health. I'm going to do all these workouts and I'm going to lose all this weight. You go in, you jump off the cliff. You don't even work into this at all. I mean, you go in and the next day you can hardly move. Okay, I'm not going to want to do this again. It's that baby step mentality of how we could recreate those habits that are going to serve us one little step at a time. And that can be for everything. It doesn't have to be just our health journey, right? I mean, it's everything, relationships, for us coaches, building our businesses, for those people that are, working and doing other things and trying to evolve and grow. Those little itty bitty changes make a huge difference, but it's the consistency in them that we have to really get a hold of. And doing the baby steps to do that is going to be the huge game changer and the pattern disruptor, if you will.
I love that, Misty, and I'm gonna hit that again because there couldn't be anything even more important, because Erica talked about it. I mean, I mentioned it, Misty mentioned it again. Why is it important to set these goals at a doable, achievable thing? And Dr. A is asking about here, because it's not about tomorrow. Lisa, I forgot the name, Lisa or whoever with the exercises, even to do part of your exercises every day is going to lead you to success, because you're going to create a habit where you're doing it every day. So instead of putting the pressure of I must do 10 minutes of these exercises every day, if you set it at something that's 1 minute, I mean, so small that no matter how poorly you're feeling or how pressed for time you are that you can achieve it, then you're working on that habit. And over time, that habit's going to get easier. You'll be doing 2 minutes. You'll be doing 8 minutes. You'll be laughing that you even were resistant to doing 10, whatever. And the last little thing I wanted to add to that is it allows you to do a little pat on the back. And whether that's just a little, yay, I did it, or whether it's I get to watch my favorite show, or I get to have my meal now, or whatever, I'm going to go sit outside, whatever your reward is, that just reinforces it. And that's what helps us, all of these things. I just love this loop. I could talk about it all day. You can do anything with this. So really pay attention to what Eric was pointing out on those 3 questions, because that's the key to building those habits. And he's really dialed in on that here.
This is Tony. I just like to add, when I'm answering those questions, I like to dial in what my why is, because it helps me stay on track, helps me stay on focused. So, my why might shift a little bit from time to time, depending on what's going on with my life, but it's pretty consistent with I have an overall why, but then I have maybe more specific whys. So if I tie in answering those questions to my why, it helps me stay motivated to be consistent.
Yes, definitely all about the why. I really like that. Really revisiting that even daily is helpful. I know we have just a couple of minutes before we need to do the spin the wheel for the raffle, but I just wanted to point out this last thing on page 93. It's the present self and future self. You're looking at your present self with all the little pieces. Those are all the little habits that you're forming, and you're working on one thing at a time, and you're building it to your future self. The big rock that the little figures holding there, that's your future self with all those habits combined. So on the days that get tough, just think about the little pieces that are going into your future self. You're just kind of making deposits into your future self, to build your best life, basically. So I will turn it over to Misty. She has the wheel tonight. She is going to raffle off 2 lucky winners for $25 in wellness credit.
Yay, yay, yay. Here we go. Let's see if I can get this shared correctly. There we go. Can you all see the spin? The wheel is going around and around.
We can see it.
I'm going to shuffle this real quick. And who is our first lucky winner? Got, Gail Carter. All right. And here we go one more time. And Jen. Jen, we need your last name.
Sorry, it's Jen Jones.
Thank you, Jen. All right. We've got the names down, and you guys will get those credits on your account.
And we thank you all for joining us. Everybody come back next week and invite a friend. And we'll be doing the Habits of Health book next week. Misty, do you remember what chapter? Is it 1.3 or 1.2?
I think we just finished 1.3, so we are going
to 1.4, I believe. Hold on, we'll find out for you before we leave.
Yeah, I believe we're on 1.4. Well, let me just finish or check on that real quick. Yeah, actually, it pairs right along with our stuff that we talked about right now. I believe it is 1.4.
Awesome. Well, we'll reconvene next week and talk about the habits of health. We hope to see you all again and invite someone that you know.
Yeah. Thank you guys for coming.
Have a good night.